Okay, everybody, we're here with the Gamer Seuss channel once again, and it's Tuesday, and you know what that means? It's game time with Doc and Lurch. And actually, Angel, which has been one of our favorite special guests here, is here already. And I've got exciting news for everybody because Angel has decided he wants to jump on as a regular host. So he's not just going to be a special guest now. There will be some weeks that he can't make it, just like there's some weeks that Lurch can't make it or I can't make it. And when I can't make it, of course, we don't have the show because I kind of have the hosting software. But when one of them can't make it, that sometimes happens. But for the most part, we're going to have Angel here, and he's such a knowledgeable source, and not just media. He's going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and media and comic books and all these great things. He does console gaming with Lurch, so he can talk on console gaming. So it's a great resource to have. So next week, the title of the show is going to be with Doc, Lurch, and Angel. And we're going to go from there. So that's really exciting news. Welcome aboard, Angel.
Thank you so much. I love being here.
Yeah, and we love having you. So it's really exciting. We started the show with the 3-host format, and then Greg got kind of busy. And so Greg dropped out. So having you jump in Greg's position is awesome news. There are times when me and Lurch could always use a third voice in there, especially, because it's always nice to have multiple opinions on things, especially nerd things, because there's lots of different opinions out there about it. I'm going to do a quick sound check. Just to make sure that the people out there can hear us real well, and then I'll open up the chat so that they can chat with us if we get any live people. A lot of people, of course, watch us on the replay, so we don't get a lot of live talkers. But let's do a check 1 2, check 1 2. Let's do a
check. Checkity check.
Check. Can anybody hear me? Check. Can anybody hear me?
Okay, it sounds pretty good to me. All right. For those who don't know, Game Time here is put on my channel, but it's kind of sort of also related to Eclectic Endeavors, the people that put on the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo, because me and Lurch are on the board for that, and our previous co-host Greg. And it's basically a convention and gaming group that tries to promote the educational side of these nerdy hobbies, be they comic book collecting or being a small developer for an app or comic book or role-playing game, tabletop board game or whatever. And so we want to promote the educational side of these things. And we started Game Time to kind of keep in contact with people, especially during the pandemic when we weren't having our conventions. And we do not only the convention, but we did the picnic at the end of the universe. And we have the board game night at Holdfast Brewing Company, which Greg still hosts live the third Wednesday of every month. You can go out there and say hi to Greg, and Greg can tell us if, pass along messages to us if you have comments or suggestions. So that's kind of where we're at there. Just to introduce myself, I am the promotions director, cross-promotions director for Eclectic Endeavors, as well as the panels director for this year's game. And then this year's game will be the last game. So it is our final hurrah. And then Lurch is co-chair this year, as well as being the electronic gaming director for all the years of game. He puts on the electronic gaming thing, and I mean, just himself, he owns like 48 consoles. So he brings out the consoles and all the games and stuff, and he runs that area for us there. So he's highly knowledgeable. And then, of course, our new host, like we said, is Angel, who, for those who may recall, was the other half of Left Claw Studios with Lurch. So when Lurch used to do his Twitch, and they still kind of do some stuff on Left Claw, it's just not really super active right now. but there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos from Left Claw Studios. And
Can I plug Left Claw Studios a little bit?
oh, absolutely. Go ahead. You're going to be better at this than I am.
So Left Claw Studios, we had the streaming aspect that Lurch was certainly a part of. But primarily it's a software development company. So we receive contracts for software development. And if we accept the contract, so hit me up on leftclawstudios@gmail.com if you have a software request, and I can look at it, discuss it with you, and try to get it back as soon as possible.
Excellent. Yeah. And the other thing Left Claw Studios did is they streamed regularly a lot of their console gaming and other things like that as content. Like I said, if you go to YouTube, you can see a lot of their videos there. And that's one of the things we do with Eclectic Endeavors the gaming convention gets, like, for instance, artists and developers together so that they can network and source out stuff like developing a new app or a new game or a new, Kickstarter campaign or whatever. We even did panels on how to run a Kickstarter campaign and things like that. So we're out here to help the people in the nerdy community be nerdy as a way of life, not just as a hobby. And it's great. We're going to jump in with a lot of topics today. I actually brought more topics than anything today. We didn't do the show last week because of real life concerns. But hopefully we'll do the show every week more when that, if Lurch can't show up and Angel can, I'll still have a co-host and I'll still show. Don't like to run the show completely by myself too much, because sometimes I could be lacking in topics and I don't want to go into the media all by myself. It's much more fun to bounce off of people.
It's hard to talk to yourself.
Yeah. And in the media
section, camera, it's hard to just talk to yourself.
The media section, we really want to bounce off of each other. Yeah. The media section, you really want to bounce off of people because that's where the fun is getting each other's opinions on things and seeing things that others didn't see and pointing them out and going over stuff and even the quote unquote fun argument parts when we disagree on stuff. That can be some of the best stuff, actually.
Yeah.
So I know you had more topics than I do this week. So do you want to start off with one of yours instead of starting on mine? I actually set it up that way because I've got like 5 or 6 topics before we go into media. But I did not do a Vault or Kickstarter this week because I had so many other topics. I figured that would be fair.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because as most people know, every week I usually give you a Vault recommendation from the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, sometimes older.
Yeah.
And then I usually recommend a Kickstarter campaign. I'm not doing that this week, but that will still be a pretty regular column. And some of these will be real quick. First off, the Power Rangers just finished Power Week. And so during Power Week, it was announced that the Dino Fury Rangers will be the same Rangers that go into the next iteration of Power Rangers, which will be Cosmic Fury, which they haven't done since Power Rangers Zeo. They have, an advanced version of one, like it'd be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, then it would be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, like, I can't remember what they called the subtitle.
Well,
they have
for the first 3 seasons, it was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then they dropped the Mighty Morphin and they called it Power Rangers Zeo, and then Power Rangers Turbo, then Power Rangers in Space.
Right, but
throughout those 6 years, some of the cast would stick along, but then there might be a couple of trade outs, at the season switch. And then over the course of the season, there might be another swap out or 2.
Right.
It wasn't until the end of the 6th season and the start of the 7th season where it completely jumped off of that trajectory, and then it was a whole new cast every season after that.
But usually they didn't. After that, if it changed the actual primary name after Power Rangers, it didn't include the old cast. Zeo was the big exception there, although you're right, Turbo did share a few people too. But after
and Space shared people from Turbo. It was kind of a progression, but that ended with In Space. In Space was the last one to do that. Once you got to Lost Galaxy, which was the next season, that's when it started doing. Every year it was a new title, and every year was a new cast, a new group of people.
Well, Cosmic Fury is going to be going back to some of that old roots, and they are keeping the Dino Fury Rangers, just they are going to become the Cosmic Fury Rangers. At least some of them are. We don't know for sure if every single member is coming back or how long they will last before they are replaced, but their cast has been confirmed for Cosmic Fury, which is kind of exciting news for people who are enjoying the current cast. You get connected to a certain character, so it's really nice to see some continuity there, because the way Saban structured the show, he takes it from the Japanese version and uses some of their fight choreography scenes, but then he swaps out the actor part of the show and adds that in. And so this way they can still do it, and they are still doing it from the Super Sentai and stuff like that as the core choreography that they're pulling from. It is a Japanese tokusatsu series, the Super Sentai that actually spawned Power Rangers, and there were so many clones out there that tried to cash in on that formula, but really Power Rangers is the only one that truly has the staying power. It's going into the big, what is it, like what is there, is the 50th season, 60th season, something like
30th.
30th season.
The Power Rangers is on the 30th season. And actually, I think at the top of that list you have there.
Yeah.
The article.
I just get confused because it's like 60th season of Doctor Who. And there's so many seasons out there that are getting into the big thing, and so Power Rangers is another big one. But that's the big one. I didn't want to go over this one too much, but I did want to point out that they were going to do that from Power Week. And Power Week is like D23 for Disney and DC Fandom for DC. Power Week is part of the big Power.
There's my dinner finally showing up at the door. I'll be right back.
Okay. While you do that, I don't know if you've got any comments on the Power Rangers, Angel, before I move on.
Yeah. I'm surprised Tokusatsu is still like alive and well in Japan as much as it is, and like it's still like coming into America full force, which is crazy.
Well,
just because
it's almost a driving force like anime is.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fantastic, and I really I used to be a huge fan of Power Rangers back in the day. I think I watched like the first 9 seasons.
You know,
whenever I was a kid.
I'm 51 years old and I've seen every Power Rangers.
I want to. It's intimidating. It's like One Piece. You can't really just like, it's intimidating to start from the beginning. I almost feel like I'd have to respect the series. But, right now the only thing I'm really dealing with Power Rangers is I'm really into the comics.
Right.
And the fact that the comics are doing so well as they are.
I've never read a comic, but I've done a lot of it.
I've been reading the Power Ranger comics. Those have been fantastic. And recently, even before this, but even more so now because of the Godzilla Power Rangers crossover that's current.
You're breaking up there a little bit.
I'm really excited. Oh, I'm sorry.
You probably went through a bad area.
I did. I was talking about the crossover between Godzilla and Power Rangers. That's currently happening in the country.
Kaiju would seem like a natural link to Power Rangers because giant robots and giant monsters. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great.
It's a match made in heaven.
I haven't read them yet. Have you read any of yours?
Oh, I've read them all. I'm waiting for the last one.
I decided to wait until the last one was out and then read them all at once.
I tend to read them individually and then reread them all before I read the last one. It tends to be like what I do.
Gotcha.
That's because I'm impatient.
It's kind of how we are with the Marvel series there, Lurch.
What's that?
Kind of how I treat the Marvel TV series is I watch each individually and then I have to watch them all again before the last one comes out or the new season comes out or something.
When it's a limited series like this is, it's a 6-issue limited series. I was like, you know what? I'll just it's a secluded event from everything else. I was like, I'll wait until all 6 are out and then go through them all as one big experience.
I don't have that.
Willpower.
I do not have that discipline.
Well, and if it was something we talked about as a regular segment on the show, of course you would read it every week just to update on the show. But since it's not one of our regular topics, you don't have to worry as much. Where, like, for instance, the Disney Plus series, we try to cover every week. The Arrowverse series, we try to cover every week. But there are definitely the temptations. Like, there was a point when I was going to wait and not keep my Disney Plus subscription going all the time and then binge after each one ended. But then they started putting so much more stuff on that I wanted to watch, and I was like, never mind, I'm not going to go through the on again, off again sequence. Plus, we were talking about them on our shows. So,
dude, it's funny. Whenever Netflix raised their price to $15.50 a month, making it more expensive than HBO Max, within days of that news coming out, or within days of my first bill, I canceled my service. But then, before my next billing cycle came around, they announced the release dates of Sandman and the last season of what was that other show? The Umbrella Academy and Wednesday, and I was like, well, shit. Now I got 3 months in a row of shows that I'm really looking forward to. I'll cancel my cancellation.
They're looking over your shoulder, Lurch. They're looking over your shoulder. Big Brother's watching. Big Netflix is watching.
Yeah.
And that's it. Now, the only other thing about Power Rangers to point out is the second half of Dino Fury Season 2 is coming next month in September. So tomorrow, the new month starts. Day after tomorrow, the new month starts. So something like, I think it's September 8th or something. It's somewhere in September that the second half of the current Dino Fury saga drops on Netflix. So if you are waiting for that, that's when you're going to get it. We're also getting other things like Cobra Kai and stuff like that are dropping here in September. It's going to be a really busy month.
Good show, Cobra Kai.
It is a fantastic show, and it's so true to the original source material. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I just rewatched the whole set of starter seasons and got Allison addicted.
There was an entire How I Met Your Mother episode dedicated to the person who played the guy who kicked Danny and
You're breaking up again. Yeah. You go through bad areas. Unfortunately, just to explain to people out there, Angel is driving while he is broadcasting. He's doing it safely, but he is driving, which means he goes through some bad areas, and so he will sometimes sound like he's underwater.
Is it okay now? It should be fine now.
You're fine now.
Yeah, you're good
now. Usually only lasts for a couple of seconds, but it's usually right in the middle of you saying something.
I forget what the actor's name was who played the kid who swept the leg. Who the Cobra Kai is effectively about.
Joey Lawrence?
Yeah. So when he there was an episode in How I Met Your Mother where Barney, the Quagmire.
Neil Patrick Harris' character.
Yeah. Are you guys able to hear me fine?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hearing you fine.
He that character, he would make an argument to everybody how he was the actual hero of the show. and that actor who played the adult version of him, like he came on set.
Joey Lawrence came on
and
set.
he was a part of the episode. And that was 10, 12 years ago.
And Joey Lawrence is the same person who played it in the original Karate Kid. The actor is the same actor. Yeah.
So I 100%. I've been watching the show. I just forget what his name is.
Yeah. I recently
you know,
rewatched them all again. So, and
they're fantastic.
I've rewatched a couple of times now because each time a new season comes out, I rewatch all the old seasons right before it comes out. So, and I rewatched all the Karate Kid movies. In fact, this coming season, there's a rumor that Hilary Swank will be in with her character from the next Karate Kid. There is a chance that we will get Hilary Swank, which is awesome. The fact that they've brought in so many cameos from the original movies of the original actors, I mean, obviously they couldn't get Pat Morita because he died before the show started. But there's so many flashback scenes from the movies that they utilize that it almost feels like Pat Morita was gone. And they, of course, dedicated the first season to him in loving memory of Pat Morita, which I thought was awesome as well.
That's the actor who played Mr. Miyagi, right?
Yes. And Pat Morita, unfortunately, died before the show started, but they did dedicate the first season to him, which I thought was a great honorific.
Almost feels like you ought to just dedicate the whole show to him, right?
In a lot of ways they do, although they did one of the guys that plays Joey Lawrence's stepfather, Ed Asner, died recently, and they dedicated an episode of that season to Ed Asner. So there's always people that come and go, unfortunately, because life happens, and they are quick to do the dedication. So, but seeing Moriko in the recent seasons, seeing Allie show up, now we've got Terry Silver's characters back. I mean, there's so much, if you remember the original Karate Kid series, and that will be probably a vault entry. In fact, I'll probably even go ahead and give a spoiler here. I will probably do Karate Kid as a vault entry next week or the week after because of the new season of Cobra Kai. So we'll talk more about that next week, just to move on. We're going to go on to one of, I don't have mine all grouped together because I do want to intersperse it, even though I've got so many. So we're going to go on to Lurch's next topic. And we'll pop into my next one, but there will be a couple of mine that we do back to back just because there's so many, but I'm also going to try to rush some of them so that we don't monopolize all the time. And we're talking about Gamescom 2022.
So this is a bit of a bigger one. I'll try not to spend too long on each individual title here, so I'm going to kind of go through kind of quickly.
I'm going to go run and get a soda while you do that.
But last week, Gamescom, Opening Night Live, and some other things have released over a couple of days, showing off a whole lot of new material for games that are coming out. And so I thought we'd go through the IGN article of what they consider the biggest announcements. And I can't disagree with it for the most part. So I'll go ahead and get started here. One of them, which was a big surprise, Dead Island 2, which the last time we heard, the last time we heard from Dead Island 2 was 8 years ago. They went out a trailer. It was really cool. The guy running down the beach, listening to music without realizing everyone behind him was dying. It was an awesome trailer. This trailer is also pretty awesome. The title doesn't make much sense. Dead Island 2. But he's not on an island. He's on the West Coast. He's like on the coast of California. So it should be, Dead Coast? I don't know. Anyway.
Dead coast to coast.
Yeah. So this trailer has kind of a similar vibe to that one. It looks pretty slick. Got this guy that's like chillaxing in a. Now it's different in the sense that he knows that there's a zombie or whatever, a zombie infestation. But this guy's just kind of like relaxing in a nice house. And you don't see anything wrong at first, but then after he gets moving around, you start seeing like blood splatters everywhere on the walls and things falling down. Then he goes outside and he needs something. I don't know what. He needs something from the store, so he goes outside and just, having fun while he's just butchering all these zombies outside on his way to the market. Gets some things, gathers a few things, kills a couple more, makes his way back, gets all comfortable, and then he gets a TV remote, tries to turn on TV, missing batteries. Gotta go back to the store and get back out. It was a fun trailer. The original stream I saw of it had this trailer muted because of the licensed music. They muted it for YouTube purposes. That was annoying. I had to go back and find another copy of it after I watched the big one.
We mute for the same reason here, and I'm showing some of the trailer right now.
Yeah. So, I didn't play the first Dead Island. The only Dead Island game I played was like an arcade-style Dead Island game.
I've played Dead Island. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So Dead Island did look like. I'm not a huge zombie game fan, but Dead Island did look like one I would enjoy. I just didn't get around to it. There's only so much time in the day.
That's another advantage to having Angel here.
There's something about just like palm trees and like sunlight and just like it's like you're at a bar and everything is just dead.
Yeah. So it seems like a great setting for that kind of a game that's a little different than what we tend to get.
I love them using the rifle as a club. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it stabs somebody through with the barrel. Oh my God. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Blood splatter's good too.
It's pretty great. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next thing that's on this list. There's Sonic Frontiers. It's got a new trailer, and I gotta say, this new trailer is looking pretty good. But like early on, they were showing kind of lame footage with him just kind of running around in these almost empty zones, like this landscape. But now we're actually getting to see like him combat and dealing with multiple enemies and going through these kind of zones that are like really fast paced with that have similarities to old levels from the past. And it's coming out November 8th.
I'm showing the trailer now.
It's good that they're experimenting and like being transparent about how development is going, rather than any other like Sonic game. I'm excited. I'm pleased, excited.
Yeah, I was really nervous about the way this was looking at first, but I'm really starting to dig the way this game looks. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I feel like.
And then the next game is Gotham Knights. They provided a new release date, October 21st, and also had a new trailer that showed that Harley Quinn and Clayface are going to be major villains. If I remember right, this is the one that's going to be developed by the people who made Batman Arkham Origins, I think, or was it the other ones? Was it this? God, I'm getting these mixed up. I think this is the Arkham Origins team. So I'm not as excited for this one as I am for the Suicide Squad because it's being made by the team who made Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. But I'm optimistically keeping an eye on this one. We'll see how it is when it actually comes out. It's one of those ones I'm on the fence. I'm not prepared to pre-order for it, but if it comes out and people that I trust think I would like it, then I'll pick it up and give it a go. It has some promise, but I'm a little hesitant on it. Next game that they talk about here is Hogwarts Legacy. Got a new trailer, which I have to say this is the best looking trailer I've seen for this game. I kind of forgot this game existed until this trailer came out. But yeah, like when it started, I was like, oh yeah, this game. I have to say though, it looks freaking cool.
The trouble with
it talks about
some of these trailers is
what's that?
The trouble with trying to show some of these trailers is they want to show an ad before each one starts. Because I'm trying to give everybody a little bit of experience with the trailers. Oh, this one didn't.
Did you gotta get past the ads?
It went
Yeah.
to the ad, and then it went to the end of the trailer. So.
But
Oh wait, no, then it bumped up to the Sonic. I don't want Sonic or Gotham Knights. I want Hogwarts.
So the Hogwarts one, the Hogwarts trailer shows some gameplay, and it says that they're digging into the Salazar Slytherin's past.
Right.
And it's described as a slightly terrifying choice involving the torture curse Crucio. Which, if I remember right, the idea was like someone was talking about how Crucio is a forbidden spell.
It's one of the three.
And someone else is like, and then someone else is like, how do we know to defend against Crucio if we don't know how to use Crucio or something like that? How can we fight how can we fight evil if we don't know what they can do or something like that? And it seemed like a logically solid argument in that sense.
Well, there are three forbidden curses in the Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And Crucio is one of them.
I think everyone here knows I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but I have to say this game looks pretty cool.
Which is so strange because you love magic.
Oh yeah, I love magic. My problem was never with the magical world. My problem was, I talked to you about this before, I just didn't like the story of Harry Potter. And I know that's a very unpopular opinion.
I'll sit there with you and tell you that there are like 1,000 better magical related stories than Harry Potter. I just thought you'd delve into it for the world,
Yeah. And that's the thing that has my interest here is this is in the world of Harry Potter, the whole new characters and things seem really interesting. And so that's kind of my thinking about it is I like the world, I like the way this was looking, I like the general concepts of that world, of that universe. So and I like the Fantastic Beasts movies. I had a hard time with the newest one. I stopped watching like 30 minutes in, thinking maybe I need to go back and rewatch. Yeah, I was watching it on HBO Max or whatever, and I got about 30 minutes in and I stopped watching. I don't do that often.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on, we got some new gameplay footage for Callisto's Protocol, where it was fucking great. They showed them like it was like they were like showing them actually playing it for like a 5 or 10 minute stretch. So it was like more of a gameplay demo than a gameplay trailer. And like they showed them like using like what looked like some kind of a gravity gun to fling an enemy into a set grinder thing to chop up one of the zombie monsters. And there's a particular monster they showed in here that it like sprouts out like stuff out of its chest, and if you don't cut that off quickly enough, it will then grow bigger and then reinforce it and make the monster stronger and give it more attacks. So you need to like cut off a specific appendage of it, like off its shoulder, before it mutates and becomes more dangerous a few seconds later.
That sounds fun and terrifying. I love that.
This
love it.
Looks awesome.
It's taking, from what we're seeing, they're taking all the best parts of Dead Space and then upping the ante even more. And I'm all for this. I can't wait.
Oh, you know me, I love Dead Space.
Right.
Dead Space is one of my favorite game franchises.
The next thing is they announced PlayStation announced a new trailer, the DualSense Edge. The footage of it was only like 36 seconds long. If you try to play it on our stream, there'll probably be a commercial that lasts longer than the trailer.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn that one.
Anyway, it's going to have, I don't know what the price is yet on it, but they're going to have like customizable controls, back paddle buttons, interswappable analog sticks, and I think swappable triggers on the back, if I remember right. Oh yeah, changeable stick caps, back buttons, and more. Multiple control profiles, so you can like have it reprogrammed in different ways with a little switch that switches between different profiles. So if you wanted to control one way for one game, but different for a different game.
Or two people in that house that like different control setups.
Yeah. Moving on, we got Street Fighter 6, got some new gameplay mechanics. I'm not enough into Street Fighter to properly relay what was talked about, but they did show some more details about a couple of characters, Juri and Kimberly, and some of the new gameplay mechanics of it. And I can't quite remember what they were, but they put out a 10-minute video explaining some of the updates for Street Fighter 6. Forspoken, which is my most anticipated game that's not God of War Ragnarok, that's coming out. Forspoken got like a 10-minute new video showing combat, exploration, and Frey's magical abilities. It says that she's going to have over 100 spells and abilities, and will even grade you on how you're doing, and kind of like Devil May Cry did. This game, I cannot wait for this game. Everything about it just looks good to me. Are you familiar with this one is, Angel? I know I've talked about it with Doc a bit.
Yes,
So,
yes. You and I watched the first trailer together in the same room, actually, I think.
Okay, so the next one is a new game that was just announced that looks pretty neat called Where Winds Meet. It's described here as a Ghost of Tsushima type game, but taking place in medieval China. They report here that the developer Everstone Games has unveiled its new open-world RPG, Where Winds Meet. That looks very much like Ghost of Tsushima in medieval China. It's set in a beautiful Ten Kingdoms period at the end of the Southern Tang Dynasty, and the main character looks like to be a mysterious swordsman who will be tasked with surviving its tumultuous time. Now, there was 2 different games that seemed to be in China, I think, and I can't remember which one it was I saw. If it was this, or I know I saw them both, but I can't remember which one it was that really stuck out to me. It was either this one or another one that's a little further down the list. But it was kind of like, one of them kind of felt like, to me, like a Ninja Gaiden, but like a modern kind of that game.
This isn't being done by From Software?
No, this is being developed by Everstone Games.
I like the animation of the fire, the grass, the water. Everything is really sharp in this trailer. I've jumped forward.
Oh, it looks like the Twitch channel is doing some kind of it's doing an ad on the Twitch channel. Interesting.
Oh, it did one of their automatic ads. It does that sometimes.
Yeah.
During the viewer can't necessarily hear us, but
yeah. Then there's another game that they showed called Lies of Pi, which I guess this isn't the first time it's being shown, but for some reason I don't recall it being shown before. But Lies of Pi. Almost every time I say the name of this game, I say it wrong. I have to consciously think about it. Lies of P. It's a Pinocchio game with a Souls-like design. Yeah. I don't know what to say about it. It looks dark and pretty cool. I haven't played enough Souls-like games to give a whole lot of other thoughts to it, but it's got Geppetto. The P, I'm sure, is for Pinocchio. So it's, the Lies of Pinocchio. I have heard that they can't call the cricket Jiminy Cricket because Jiminy Cricket is apparently trademarked by Disney.
Yeah, that's Disney.
In the original book, the cricket didn't have a name.
Right. He was just the conscience.
So, I'm going to move on. Subnautica. The developers of Subnautica announced a new game called Moonbreaker, which is a Warhammer-like strategy game. Something that I think both of you might like quite a bit, but I know Angel would. It has a miniature model painting mode. All of your pieces. So you're using miniatures, you're using models to play like a game, and you can paint them to your liking.
It's Warhammer Fantasy.
Why does that appeal to me so much? Like in a video game.
I love playing.
As soon as I saw that part of the announcement, I was like, "Oh, Angel's gonna want to play this."
Me too.
They even said that every model that's in the game as it is, it's already pre-colored, was done using the same tools that the players are gonna get.
Nice.
That's great.
Nice.
That's great.
Like just in the testament of the power of that the painting tool.
Their palette now.
What game is this? Subnautica?
No, it's called Moonbreaker. It's made by the same devs that made Subnautica.
Moonbreaker.
It's a digital tabletop strategy game.
That sounds great.
And the universe that game takes place in, like the fantasy element to it, was co-created by Brandon Sanderson, who wrote Mistborn and The Wheel of Time and other books.
Him. I didn't like Wheel of Time. I couldn't get through it, but I love the Mistborn series. And one of the reasons I tried so hard to get through Wheel of Time is because I wanted to get to the books that he wrote.
Moving on to the next thing, a new Tales of the Borderlands game has been announced.
Ooh.
They're gonna beat that horse.
I figured you'd be into that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty so on Borderlands. But I know Angel loves it.
It's a popular series. It's a popular series.
And it comes out October 21st.
That's the same day that the Black Adam's supposed
Not
to
that far away, wow.
October 21st is getting a lot of releases.
Yeah, Black Adam, the movie is supposed to come out on the 21st.
Yeah. The next game on the list is High on Life, which got a new trailer. This game I'm really looking forward to. It's being made by Squanch Games, which is owned by Justin Roiland. Yeah, so Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland. So it's got a lot of those similar kinds of voices and humor. Every weapon in the game talks to you. For anyone that's not familiar. So like the knife, like they all have faces, they're like aliens. And like the knife is like, yeah, stab me with somebody, stick me into someone's body. I love it. You know? And then like there's a gun. And then there's like a gun that like shoots out like these little things that explode, and the gun's like, those are my babies that you're shooting at people. Those are eggs. Those are my offspring.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Weapons of combat. I love it.
And the footage they put out for this new exclusive trailer had a boss fight, and you had like you had one tool in one hand where you're like swinging around on things, so you're staying away from this acid that's down below while shooting at at the boss. And it looked like a lot of fun. It's like a AA kind of game. It's not quite up there with some of the AAA games, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be hilarious. At least to my point of sense of humor, it's going to be hilarious, I believe. I mean, I enjoyed, what was that other game? Trover Saves the Universe? I don't know if you played that. That game is fun as fuck. It's hilarious.
I hope it's longer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Trover Saves the Universe is a VR game, and VR games tend to be a little bit short. Yeah.
I'm popping around different spots in the trailer, and it's looking pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, you got the trailer playing?
Yeah, but I'm like bouncing back and forth over the timeline, kind of looking for that boss fight.
Yeah, that's a pretty fun looking game loop, isn't it? At least for this boss fight.
I'm not sure. I don't think I've found the boss fight yet.
I mean, you're watching the boss fight.
Was I watching the boss fight for part of that?
Yeah. I think the whole video is the boss fight. It's like one enemy that you're dealing damage, and then it'll drop down below the acid, make the acid rise up, so you have to swing around to avoid the acid as it's rising, and then shoot it down so that you can then come back down on foot and fight from the ground while dodging its bullets.
I like the fact his gun's got little antennae.
And so, the next game we've got is Wo Long, which is Team Ninja's new game. The way this is worded on here was weird. Wo Long, how Team Ninja's new Souls-like differs from Nioh.
That's a hard title to say.
Yeah. So, the game title, like, I thought it was like the game title thing or whatever, but no, the whole game title is just Wo Long. And I can't remember much about this one, to be honest, but it's a Team Ninja game, and they do a ton of really great games.
Looks like a Naga is kind of
gonna be great.
the front.
And then they talked a bit about A Plague's Tale. Showed how the rat swarm's created, and then had new gameplay trailer for A Plague Tale Requiem, which is a reminder that game comes out October 18th. Like mid-October is just packed. One that really caught me off guard, Hideo Kojima showed up to announce he's starting a podcast.
What?
Called Brain Structure.
It's called Brain Structure. It'll be on Spotify, both in Japanese and in English.
So does he speak English, or is someone translating for him?
I'm pretty sure someone's translating for him. I assume it has to be. They said it's going to be releasing episodes each Thursday. So you'll deep dive into his brain and shed light on his creative process.
Oh God! Prepare for amaze, people.
There's some good podcasts coming out now. Like I told you about, what's his name, Rosenbaum and Tom Welling now doing a rewatch, starting from the very beginning of Smallville.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great to watch.
There's one, on Rosenbaum's channel now. It's called Talkville, and it's just Rosenbaum and Tom Welling going one episode at a time, doing rewatch and then kind of breaking down some of their experiences from the episodes.
I've never heard of that, but that might be the only podcast I might be willing to listen to.
It's just recently started.
I love Michael Rosenbaum is one of my favorite voice actors.
Oh yes.
He played. He also played the Flash in the Justice League TV series, which is really funny because I always think whenever Lex Luthor takes over his body in Justice League Unlimited, takes over the Flash's body. Then it's Michael Rosenbaum playing Lex Luthor playing the Flash.
Yeah.
Rosenbaum.
That was a great episode too.
He's got a personality.
So next up, they announced a release date for Return to Monkey Island.
Oh,
September 19th.
I remember Monkey Island.
Yeah, it's got a third game coming out, and it comes out in just 3 weeks from now. September 19th. And then one that was a shock, Dune Awakening, an open-world survival MMO based on the Dune franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
the
not
MMO
my thing,
might be great, but I'm not a
either.
big fan of Dune.
I was never big into Dune.
You never big into Dune?
I didn't like Dune. Dune to me was just too dry and not interesting.
I mean, it was a desert, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, that too. But I read all of Frank Herbert's works. I read all of Frank Herbert's works, and I do love giant sandworms. But that's the only thing it had going for it. Giant sandworms. Dune just never impressed me. At least I got through it. I can't even get through Wheel of Time. So, although the TV series for Wheel of Time was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah. So I'm going to skip a few things because we're running a bit long on the tooth on this, but one of the ones that really caught me off guard was Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, Killer Clowns from Outer Space!
A multiplayer game. You'll see humans facing against a team of alien clowns.
It's the original clowns! Oh my gosh!
Oh, that's crazy. I love that.
I remember that.
3 versus 7.
Oh, I have
that
to
sounds wackadoo. I'm down with that.
I need to bring that in as a vault selection sometime. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is so bad it's good. It's one of those movies.
Yeah. Also, The Expanse is getting a video game from Telltale Games. I haven't seen The Expanse, but I've been recommended that I need to watch The Expanse, the sci-fi
I haven't watched it either.
TV series.
It seems like a big investment of focus, and I haven't been willing to drop into it yet with all the other things on my plate.
Yeah. All right. So there's a few more things on here, but nothing else that seems big enough to bring up, considering how long we're already at. So I think we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic, and I'm going to try to eat some more of my dinner.
Yeah, go do that.
Let my voice rest for a bit.
I'll do a couple of my topics, and then we'll go back to you. So let's see. Let's close that one. And, okay. Real quick, there's a chart showing how HBO Max's show cuts affect demand of the streaming service. Because HBO Max is still at 11.5% of streaming, This is for Q2 of 2022. And then from July 2022, their platform genre breakdowns. It's just a little bit of basic information what's going on. For those who don't know, which is probably nobody because we've talked about it a lot, HBO Max is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, and since Discovery came in and kind of combined with Warner Brothers, there's been a major upheaval going on at Warner Brothers, and HBO Max is one of the platforms that's getting a lot of the hits from it. They've pulled off like almost all the Sesame Street episodes. They pulled a lot of their animation. They've canceled movies that are practically done, like Batgirl. And in fact, there is some news on that Batgirl front. They did do what's called a funeral watch of the movie, where some insiders got to see the movie before it gets retired because it's not supposed to be released. And they're coming back and saying that it literally was not good enough to do it. That Zaslav might have been justified in not going ahead with it because they do want to focus more on theatrical level releases now. And Batgirl they said it was like a pilot premise for a CW show, which we love the CW shows, but one of the reasons Warner Brothers is in such dire straits is that the CW shows were loss leaders. They cost so much to produce compared to what they made that they were losing money. They were hemorrhaging money. Berlanti made great shows, but he put so much into the shows that they almost would have been better off being the budgets for blockbusters, not weekly TV shows. And it made them fantastic. It really did for TV, but not blockbuster level for movies. And so that's one of the things. And they also said that Michael Keaton's role in the show was really minuscule. You almost blinked and missed it. So it wasn't like we lost out on a lot of Michael Keaton's Batman there. And they also said that Grace's portrayal of Batgirl was really great. They don't have anything negative to say about Grace, but the overall show just seemed like an overly hyped TV show, not even a made-for-TV movie. And so, but HBO Max has been hit by a lot of these things lately. Scoob, Holiday Haunt also got canceled and both Batgirl and Holiday Haunt are, of course, going for tax cuts to try to recoup because Zaslav has to find $3 billion to recoup somehow. That's a lot of money because of the mismanagement.
If they just release the movie, would they at least get some money back?
No, they get more money back on the tax cut.
Oh, yeah.
They get more money back on the tax cuts. That's the thing. Now, on the other hand, and there's a big controversy about whether they should bring out The Flash or not, but yet the Flash movie is rocking the test screenings right now. It's getting higher scores than Nolan's Batman trilogy in test screenings, and these numbers matter.
I hope that the things surrounding the Flash with Ezra Miller specifically, I hope that they're resolved and like we have a better, clearer, non-malicious understanding of what was happening. Because I'd really, really, really like to see the Flash movie. The Flash, like Lurch will tell you, the Flash is like my #1 favorite DC hero. Lobo's my favorite anti-hero, and those are two are on the top of my list for things that people need to.
I think we're going to see the Flash movie, and there's a few reasons why. One, they've tried really hard not to cancel it, despite what Ezra Miller has been in the media for. 2, Ezra Miller has come forward and apologized. He did it through his PR people, but he has apologized and he has sought help for mental health issues. So he has admitted he has a problem. And those kind of things are going to go a long way. And then with the test screening numbers that they've gotten for The Flash, and it is still kind of considered a linchpin of Zaslav's new 10-year plan. That movie is supposed to be really important for going forward, so they don't want to scrap it. In fact, one of the justifications for scrapping things like Batgirl is because Batgirl was kind of going in another direction in case The Flash didn't work. And The Flash gives them a few different options. Now, there's also rumors in the rumor mill going both ways as to whether they will kind of restore the Zack Snyder verse, because they are still going forward with a lot of the Zack Snyder characters, but at the same time, the bigwigs at DC have publicly come forward and said they wish that the Zack Snyder cut had never been released, because instead of silencing the masses after they finally released it, the Zack Snyder cut people have doubled down, because we want to continue the Snyderverse now, not just get the Snyderverse cut. We want the Snyderverse.
There's a little bit of controversy with whether or not to release the Snyderverse people, like all of those people, where bots are done.
Yes, there's a
legitimate argument for that as well.
I don't know if it's legitimate or if it's the company coming in and trying to save face, but there are accusations that some of the so-called release the Snyder Cut movement was bot driven. But you know what? They are the characters from the Snyderverse outside of the actual Justice League movie itself are very popular versions of the characters. Ben Affleck's Batman was very popular. There's talk of even not continuing the new Matt Reeves Pattinson Batman. They may end up canceling that.
Something tells me that's entirely on Ben Affleck whether that continues or not.
You know, but Ben Affleck originally wasn't going to come back and play Batman, but now he's going to be in Aquaman 2. And
I'm told Batman or Ben Affleck is like a wishy-washy actor in general. So that's kind of like what I've been reading, what I've been hearing about it. So whether he stays long-term on the project or not, I think would entirely depend on his whims. If everything is going well for him.
I believe that some of that is true. However, right now he's got so much public support that he'd be silly to knock it when he doesn't have any other major projects on the works. He kind of needs the exposure. But anyway, so there's so much going on with the WB, and I don't remember if I've got another WB topic in here.
If I remember correctly, I just wanted to throw in real quick. Sorry, I had my mouth full when we were on that. I'm pretty sure Ben Affleck's next appearance as Batman was supposed to be Batgirl, and if I remember correctly, he, after reading the script, decided he wanted to have nothing to do with that movie.
And so they got Michael Keaton to be in that movie, and then, but then it turns out that the actual Batman appearance in the movie is very, very slight.
Yeah.
It's not that important, so you're really not missing much, according to the insiders who watched the funeral cut.
I'm honestly not surprised, because and I don't remember all the details, but I remember in the past, looking at what kind of budget the movie was talking about having, and the crew that was behind the production of the movie, and it's a direct HBO Max movie, so I knew it was going to have quite the highest budget.
But with $90 million budget, it ended up. And
then the limited images that we got from it, I was like, I don't really see this as turning out to be any good. And not gonna lie, it's one of those ones that, from what I was hearing about it, I was just like, I don't think I would pay to watch this movie, but I would watch it for free if it became available to watch.
It sounds like the same kind of reasoning, like the same flavor of reasoning that the original Fantastic Four movie had for not being released.
Yeah. And I've heard that also that part of why they don't want to release it, besides it losing money, is they don't want to hurt the brand anymore by releasing it. They are the execs are concerned about the movie being so bad that it'll make people not want to watch future DC movies.
That's exactly right.
You know, that's a legitimate reasoning to do it as well.
Yeah.
Like DC, because like it's not like DC are just removing or making superhero movies and TV shows. DC is making superhero movies and TV shows against Marvel's superhero movies and TV shows.
So they
yeah.
And like when you're up against that kind of wallpaper, your ugly brown floral patterns don't work anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you got to look at. There's an old saying that oftentimes a true champion is defined by his opponents, and if your opponent is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you got a lot to live up to, and you got to bring your A game.
That's kind of the thing. If you switch it around, it's like Marvel's the you know like their opponent is weak.
Right now, yeah. But
so
they've got a new 10-year plan, so who knows?
Yeah. So I'm a little disappointed in some of the things that are being announced lately with this transition to the new ownership. But they claim that they're working on a new 10-year plan and basically are needing to start from scratch to clean up the mess from the previous leadership.
They may have.
And as disappointing as that is, I'm hopeful that the new folks in charge know what they're doing. Because the people that were in charge before were like AT&T executives. They know phones. The people in charge now, know television. And so I'm hoping that will make a difference. Even though one of the biggest shows was like the Duggars or whatever that got like 14 seasons of about raising a billion kids.
A lot of their people now are also fans of the DC universe, and that helps. They're bringing on The Rock as a consultant for the future DC movies, even beyond the Black Adam, and The Rock is a fan. And
I've been seeing highlights of people saying, I've been seeing titles. I never click on them. But do we know someone saying that DC finally found their next Kevin Feige?
They may have.
Like, do we know who that is?
Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name, but yes. In fact, he had even done a pitch for a different Justice League before Snyder got it. And didn't get it, but now it's starting to look like they're bringing him back on, and he's passionate about the project and knows the project and may have a better take on how to approach the project. Yeah. So
he's only considered a candidate at the moment.
Right.
His name is Dan Lin.
That's the guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And but we now they've also said there are a couple of ways that things like Scoob, Holiday Haunt, and even Batgirl could still end up releasing. Because Scoob, Holiday Haunt, they're going ahead and paying to finish the movie because they may go back and pay the IRS back and let it release later. And as far as Batgirl, one of the biggest possibilities for Batgirl is they might just use some of the footage and shoot additional footage and turn it into a TV series, limited TV series instead of a movie, and then it would be able to be used. Now, they would still have to pay the IRS back just like the Scoob Holiday Haunt in order to do it legally, but there's always the chance that they can go back and revisit it after they get out from under this $3 billion lodestone that Zaslav has to handle. Because that was the big thing he was told when he took over, is he had to somehow make up $3 billion. And that means he has to come up with about $1.5 billion of tax cuts and other things in order to make it work. because that's what he's really going for, and that's why they're cutting a lot of things. They're selling some properties. There's even talk, and this is mind-blowing, that Disney might be buying the new Batman animated series. Disney Plus might be the one that shows the new Batman animated TV show, because they might sell it to Disney Plus. That would mean that a DC product would be on the same network as a Marvel product.
You know, I didn't see the details.
Happened, but yeah, that's crazy.
Well, and The Rock is really excited about possibly in the future doing a DC Marvel crossover movie. The Rock actually has said that he wants to do that. And so he wants to get
The Rock. He called him The Rock instead of Dwayne Johnson.
But he was always The Rock. But yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson has always wanted to do a DC Marvel crossover, and he has been trying to approach that too. So that's in his bucket list. So it's
trying to recreate Justice League versus the Avengers.
Yep.
Man, oh man, that'd be cool.
It would be cool to see, even if it was just a one-off. It would be amazing. Anyway, let's move forward from this because we've killed a lot of time. It's after 9 o'clock. We haven't even gotten media yet.
What if that was Avengers Secret Wars? Was them fighting the Justice League?
I will say that if we start
incurring into that universe,
if we start to get too close, I will bump a couple of my topics to next week. But let's go on to the next thing. We're going to go ahead and go to your next topic instead of mine because we took so long on that. That was meant to be a quick one, and then we went off on tangents, which is what we do. So the next one is PlayStation 5 price increase. Yeah.
You hear about this? In certain countries, in certain economies, the PS5 price is going up. Not in the United States, but PlayStation says it's due to global economic environment, including high inflation rates in select markets.
Well, their import costs for different countries have to factor in their pricing, how much it costs them to ship to that individual country.
Yeah. So the places it's going up in price is Europe, UK, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada.
Wow, in Japan. It's made in Japan, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't know. So yeah, it's kind of bizarre. I've never seen a game console go up in price. I thought it was weird a few months ago when news broke about how the Oculus Quest 2 went up in price. And now these game systems. Now I don't know the exact exchange rates with all these different currencies, but as I understand it, it's approximately the equivalent of about $50 US.
Wow.
The price change?
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty substantial jump. And after this news broke, reporters have reached out to Microsoft and Nintendo, and both of them have responded that their consoles are not going to be going up in price. So it'll only be the PlayStation 5 going up. And I can't help... I think it was really bizarre to think that the Nintendo Switch would go up in price after, 5 years of being out.
Yeah.
But the Xbox Series X came out at right about the same time. I mean, at the same time, basically, as the PS5. And they're keeping their price down. And consoles have traditionally been, especially in the first couple of years, loss leaders. Like, they take a loss on the sales. They did say some time ago that after 6 or 8 months or something, the PS5 became profitable per unit. I would think that it'd be wiser at this stage to accept the loss of the profit by not raising the price.
I guess that depends on if they were never able to recover their loss.
That's
the
thing.
It's been a loss.
It's profitable,
like
but what's
after
the
a while
margin?
after COVID hit.
It's profitable, but what's the margin? Because how profitable it is, it makes a difference. And
Yeah.
it can only be a loss leader for so long before they go so far in the red that they need to either scrap it or raise the price. They might be at that point where they never made up their loss lead for the first 6 to 8 months.
Not only that, but we've got growing world tensions where Japan doesn't have the same access to the same resources that America does. And having it all being made all in America or other countries can be more expensive than places like Japan or China.
Where COVID hit really hard.
Yeah, so we're looking at potentially a snowball effect.
Yeah, if a lot of manufacture ends up coming back to the U.S. when we used to outsource it to Eurasia, that's going to change prices on a lot of things because we demand a lot higher wages in the United States for our workers than they do in other countries.
Well, we've also had sanctions on China and Russia recently, which are big importers of fuels or precious metals or steel. Or just cheap labor. So it actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I mean, like if you take into account all of the economic hardships that are currently happening in the world, and not just in America.
The global economy is it's still in a state of flux, especially considering the Ukraine conflict and the pandemic. Those two things have totally got the global economy on its ears, and it's affecting everything.
It might have been cheaper for them, or like a better choice for them, if they don't have another console lined up with the means to manufacture it. Their choice might have been continue taking stuff at a loss, or discontinue the PS5.
Yeah.
And discontinue the PS5, or just raise the price.
Right, and so they've gone.
I don't believe that would have been the case. Because here's the thing: is like a lot of it is. I mean, consoles traditionally lose money on sales for the first few years that they're out. The PS5 is one of the few PlayStation consoles to become profitable in less than a year, and this approximately $50 increase in price, I think, is going to cause sales to go down. I'm concerned it's going to cause sales to go down enough to ultimately hurt them more, especially when they can look at the competitors and see the Xbox Series X is still the same price.
I'm not sure if they are.
And we're talking about and we're talking about. It doesn't matter where they're manufactured. It's still it's. I mean, I get when it comes to production costs. But that doesn't matter in terms of sales. Where it's manufactured doesn't determine how well it's going to sell.
Yeah, but you got to look at other factors like demand.
Yeah, like it became profitable, but then COVID hit really hard, and the world economy is crashing. Like that could affect profitability as well.
And
the amount of that they're spending for production versus the amount that they're being sold for,
and the amount that they can afford to lose, because you can.
Well, this is the other thing. Is most of their game sales is digital, and that's where their profits come in as game sales. And I'm really surprised by your guys' reactions to this, because literally everybody else is pissed off about this.
I have a degree.
I've been following.
For everybody.
I've seen this. I've seen this news since it was first announced, and everyone that I see, every podcast or every Twitter post about it that I see is the negatives.
Yeah.
You know me, I tend to be more understanding. I don't have this gut knee reaction to just immediately be that's bullshit. Even if I feel that's bullshit, I still am hesitant to immediately say that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see the world economy right now, and it's just I get it. One, it's Sony in Japan, a much smaller country with less materials than America. If it's being manufactured outside of Japan, then there's a lot of like new what's the word? I just used it earlier. Like there's an impact on materials being shipped from border to border, and all of that has gone up.
Yeah, the tariffs for stuff coming in and out of countries.
Yeah, tariffs, and it's just like I get it. Like if Microsoft already had a whole bunch of resources, which they're a much larger company to be able to take that loss too. Sony doesn't even have remotely a fraction of the money that Microsoft does to be able to take that kind of loss. So like putting it against Microsoft or like a console like Switch that's been out for so long, I don't know. I think that Sony might be in a unique position of just life is shitty right now.
And then from my standing, one, I like to play devil's advocate and see both sides of things. But two,
I hate devil's advocates.
But you always need you need to be able to see both sides.
Advocate. I legitimately don't think that. I legitimately think that Sony's in a position that neither Nintendo nor Microsoft are in. I think that might actually. I think that you might be in. They might be until I get more information.
Yeah.
They might be in a point where they are taking it at such a loss currently versus when they were used to be profitable, so much that the production cost no longer outweighs the benefit. And, they only have, in order to recoup that loss.
They only have so much of a cushion to go in the red. And I'm also, the other part I was going to say, other than being the devil's advocate, is I'm a business major. I'm an economist. I understand some of the underlying numbers a little bit more than your average podcaster, and podcasters are more about their emotions than they are about necessarily financial knowledge. And in the financial world, there's so many underlying costs that don't go out to the general public that we don't understand. Yes, consoles are loss leaders in the beginning, and that's normal. Japan is known for loss leader sales. That's how VHS beat out Betamax, because they took a loss for like almost 2 years in order to crush them. But they only have so much of a cushion to be able to operate under a loss leader before it makes to where they can't operate, period.
Well, and again, basically when it comes to these game consoles, the profit isn't in the console, it's in the sales, the software sales. And raising prices is going to reduce console sales. Reduce console sales is going to reduce game sales.
But they have to have consoles to run the game.
It doesn't affect me because I already have a PS5, but I think this is a bad move for PlayStation.
I don't know enough about the situation, and like I'm guessing because we're not saying any hard facts, no one does, as to the reason why this has occurred. Which, if and this is tariffs like make a big deal. Like it's a big deal. Like being able to transport electronics over seas is a very expensive ordeal. And with all of the economics and stuff like that, you might be like, okay, well, each console used to cost $600 to produce, and we're selling them for $500 or $400. That's fine. We'll take that loss. Might have just turned into a $700 console, into an $800 console. Like, we don't know the amount of pressure that even producing these consoles, which we know that they struggled to do during COVID, has put on their ability to be profitable, even if they were profitable for a little bit.
Also,
and even and being not profitable, so much so that they're starting to dip into the digital sales, might also be a factor. Like, there's a point where your console is just so unprofitable.
I mean, it became profitable during COVID. The console came out after COVID started.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there was a difference between when COVID first started. then the following year when people actually started taking it seriously.
Also,
and like halfway into COVID is when people even started wearing masks and enforcing.
Yeah.
Let me bring up a couple other things real quick. I've tried to interject here.
Okay.
There's a couple things that you're not taking into account. Number one, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, when they look at console sales, each console equates to so many game sales in their strategies is one thing. So they have to get enough saturation of consoles out there. And if they can't afford to produce the consoles because of pricing, that's going to affect their decision process. Another thing is where the consoles are made. Another factor that is not necessarily entered everybody's mind is the fact that America and to some extent Europe have done a lot of government subsidies to relieve business pressures for COVID, but Asia has not. They have just taken those losses and the government has not given them any bailout money at all. And we've gone into like major financial debt as a country to give a lot of businesses extra money to compensate for what they lost during COVID. Sony, being based out of Japan, is not getting that money, which means they have to make that up somewhere else as well. And yes, games may produce a lot of money, but the amount that goes to specifically Sony is not necessarily as much as you think. A lot of it goes to their third-party producers and stuff that gets distributed out. So they have to granulate that through their entire economy of their company. And that's where they might have to increase prices.
I guess. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, that's about where I was done.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't know. I'll probably have a much more harsh opinion if I find that it truly is malicious in nature. But like living in the world right now, it's hard for me to not have a little bit of empathy and be like, okay, you know, even like Sony's not as big as Microsoft, and like just
yeah.
like,
I mean, they're not as big. I mean, almost no one's as big as Microsoft, but they're still $100 billion company.
Yeah. So it's
I don't have sympathies for $100 billion company.
I know. Well, it's not like the $100 billion goes into specifically the games aspect either.
And it's $100 billion company.
Like that is a much smaller aspect of Sony as a whole.
And it's $100 billion company in an unstable financial government. It's not in the U.S.
I feel like you know, I want to know more before I have a knee-jerk reaction. As it stands right now, I'm like, benefit of the doubt, it's a shitty world and everybody's not. But was there anything else that we needed to talk about, or did we?
The only other thing I'll mention on this, and this is a big thing for Lurch's point about how a lot of the games are digital and stuff. Most the digital versions of the games are bought in the U.S., and the U.S. is where they're not raising the prices.
Also, PlayStation's the company that also already raised their game prices by $10 a piece as well.
But they're not raising their console prices in the U.S., and that's where the digital games are bought more, where in other countries the physical games are bought more. So that's another consideration because we have more.
Yeah, the U.S. has a lot better. I can tell you for a fact that the U.S. has a lot better internet than the rest of the world.
Yeah, we have better cloud access, which means we are.
Like Australia has shitty internet almost everywhere. England has shitty internet almost everywhere.
Yeah, we're more comfortable buying.
England has shitty internet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I talk on Discord a lot all the time with people from all over the world, and I cannot tell you a single English individual who's had good internet. Mm-hmm. At most, they consider 30 megs per second good internet.
Actually, next to the United States, your best internet is going to be places like, believe it or not, Singapore. But places like the UK and Australia and stuff, their internet is not great, and that's the thing. And they're not.
I guess it depends on where you live, but like most of those are countries that have like a big metropolis
Yeah.
and then small towns everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the countries ranked by mean download speed in megabits per second, the United States doesn't make it in the top 10.
Really? That's crazy. Because we can have really good internet.
But we have better stability than other countries.
Yeah.
I'm
going to, I don't know if you guys want to talk about this some more, but I'm going to have to mute and turn off my camera because I'm about to go into a lab. However, I'll be back on in like 2 minutes.
Well, we're going to go on to another topic and then we'll be back with you. So no problem. Okay, I'm going to go off of this. We've spent a lot of time, like I said.
Did you know there was a country? I didn't even know there was a country named Jersey, but they have the fastest internet in the world.
I can believe that. Anyway, I'm going to go on to our next topic because we did spend a lot of time on this one too. And
yeah, I was thinking this was going to be a really quick one, and I did not expect both of you guys to argue with it. I was just like, man, that sucks. They're raising the prices, and then we move on.
You thought we were going to be like, yeah, that sucks.
That's what I was saying. I do feel like I do need to say that is I was just saying it sucked, and you seemed surprised with that and wanted to get more of our reactions out of it.
No, it wasn't that. You were saying, I get it. It's not. You can't blame them. I was like, what? Okay.
Anyway, let's go on to the next topic, and then I'm probably going to bump all the rest of my topics, and we'll go into media.
All right.
I think you have one more topic too, though.
I don't have any more.
Do you not have any more? Okay, then I'll do one more of mine.
I just prepared the two because I knew that one was. I knew the first one I brought was a really big one.
Okay. Then let's see here. Let's see. Next is, okay, a real quick thing that we're talking about, and this is a really, really quick thing. It was said, and partly as a joke, but it was also agreed of by the Duffer Brothers, that even without their other plans to end Stranger Things, they were pretty much getting to the end of the life cycle of Stranger Things, because of their link to 80s pop culture and movies and stuff, because 1988, they're at 86 now, and there's going to be a time jump before the last season, but 88 is when the release of Beetlejuice came out, and of course Winona Ryder is from Beetlejuice, and it would have created a kind of a hard limit because that's a movie that the kids of Stranger Things would not have ignored. They would have definitely gone to Beetlejuice. It's like Ghostbusters. It's like Nightmare on Elm Street. It is something they definitely would have referred to. And there's like a joke that they could, the last scene of the last episode of season 5, the Duffer said they're not going to do this, but it could have been them going to go see Beetlejuice and somebody remarking to Willis, hey, she looks like your mother. Because Winona Ryder, of course, played Delia Bates in Beetlejuice. And so that's all I really wanted to do on that topic. I don't want to go into a whole bunch, except they are still working on Beetlejuice 2, and they are still working on Stranger Things final season. But we're not looking at it coming out until probably 2024. It might come out 2023, but it's probably a 2024 release when we'll get the last season. And with the time jump, it's probably going to be 1988 when they go for the final battle in Hawkins. So it's going to be interesting.
That's the year I was born.
88? Okay,
yeah.
We now kind of have more of an idea of how old you are, youngin'. That's the year before my high school graduation class. Youngin'.
Yeah.
But you're doing pretty good for yourself, I gotta say. You're one of those younger generation that have actually got a good paying job. You own your own house. You own your own car. You're doing pretty good.
I paid off the car just the other day.
Oh, nice. That's always a celebratory event. Okay. So we're going to get off of that. I'm going to just real quickly look at my other topics. just to see if there's anything I want to touch on this week. What do we have? Dungeons & Dragons Webtoon, talk about that next week. This is a one and done, so we can talk about it real quick. There's a 30 terabyte portable SSD at Walmart that is advertising for $39 at walmart.com. Stay away from it. It's a scam. It is basically a little bit more than a micro SD hub that's got some micro SDs in it that's supposed to store, but it's limited in its actual speed of access and everything, so it's crap. Things like these come down a lot. Because it's sold through Walmart.com, a lot of people think of it as legit, but don't do it, is the main thing. The portable SSD mobile storage is actually crap.
30 terabytes, they claim?
Yes, they're claiming 30 terabytes, and they're claiming that it's only $39 for 30 terabytes.
Yeah.
I just want to warn people that just because it's going through Walmart doesn't mean you should go for it. Because it is a third-party seller using the Walmart.com reseller capability, and it only barely technically does what it says, but the access speeds and everything in such a way that it's really not worth it for anything except maybe storing a whole butt ton of like photos or something where you don't really care about the throughput as much. You couldn't really store stuff that you'd want 30 terabytes in space for. So I wanted to mention that one. That one's just a cautionary tale real quick.
Yeah.
Next is...
If a deal seems too good to be true,
it probably is.
Yeah, I don't think truer words of just because it's at Walmart doesn't mean it's good. This is the best line anyone has
Well,
said.
it doesn't mean it's legitimate.
Yeah.
Good and legitimate are a little bit different. Usually a big producer like Walmart...
I feel like both of those statements are still true.
Yes and no. I just wanted to put that warning out there.
I could pick up something at a physical Walmart store and still not be sure if it's legitimate.
Then this topic I definitely want to hold over to next week because it's the scientific benefits of tabletop gaming, and it's really important. So we'll get into that next week.
That sounds like it could be a fun
could be a whole
discussion one day.
Because I went through this and it's a deep topic. So we're going to move that to at least next week.
We'll hold that. We'll hold that for a slow news day, I guess.
Yeah, that's a slow news day topic because there's a lot going on in there. And it is long with lots of details in it. So
all of us are big into. All of us love tabletop gaming, even if some of us don't do it quite as much as others.
Right. So that's going to be a big discussion. It's a good topic I found, but it's one we're going to hold off on.
Save that sucker.
Okay, we do want to talk a little bit more about Sandman. I don't know if we've got enough time to give it a complete, go all the way through to the end of the series and the bonus episodes that dropped since the last time we talked. But I do want to mention a little bit. I don't want to...
Yeah, let's mention that, make sure to point that out as, the first, how many episodes was the first season at first?
There were 10.
There were 10
and then
initially.
one bonus episode.
Then we got a bonus 2-part episode.
Yeah, they did it double. They had like 2 separate stories in one long episode that dropped, like what, 2 weeks 11. After the original batch?
Exactly 2 weeks to the day.
I was surprised.
Yeah. And it's nice because it's got voice acting from people like David Tennant and Michael Sheen who were in Good Omens together. In fact, I found out they were working on Good Omens 2, surprise, surprise, season 2, when he called on them to do the voice acting for the bonus episode, and they were more than happy to do it.
I loved the animation, the change in animation that they did from live action for the cats. I mean, it makes sense because they're doing an animal that can't normally do what they're asking,
Yeah.
And like it was just so beautiful stylistically.
Very, very surreal and very, very, very dreamlike, which is appropriate.
Yes.
It was very apropos.
Oh,
I don't want to talk too much. I think we can hold a lot of the Sandman till next week maybe, because
yeah.
we don't have a whole lot of time, and there's a lot to talk about in Sandman still.
And in She-Hulk.
And we've got 2 episodes of She-Hulk to discuss, and I do want to get into those before we get too backlogged. We got 2 episodes to do, and then we got a new episode dropping this week. So let's go into She-Hulk, because we've really been chomping at the bit to talk She-Hulk. And that's what we really wanted to talk last week about anyway. So let's go right on to She-Hulk and finish with a nice 20 to 30 minute She-Hulk discussion. First off, She-Hulk. First episode, they changed the order of the episodes, and they ran the episode they ran first when it was supposed to be closer to the last episode, because they decided they wanted to get the origin story out of the way, and I kind of agree with it. It was nice to just do the origin story and get it out of the way, and the way it was presented I thought was pretty good. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I liked it. Getting it out of the way was like nice and refreshing. So that's how we used to do it back in like, and then we went to like this sporadic, like throughout the episode or throughout the movie or episode, whatever, like throughout the series, and like that became the norm. And now just being able to get it all out of the way is like weirdly refreshing now that we're going back to it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things the show is.
Get the origin story over in the first episode and then continue on from there.
Yeah, it was. I thought that was such a good change of pace, and then it ended with them fighting Titania, which is interesting that no one, Lurch and I were discussing, and I looked it up afterwards about how long it took between or when She-Hulk turned into She-Hulk and when that first episode began, and no one online knows. Like, it's all conjecture based on limited information they decided. So until the next episode probably, when they'll say, this footage from 3 months ago, 4 months ago, will probably tell us exactly whenever She-Hulk was taken.
Some of the points in the timeline, they're being a little bit ambiguous on purpose. Like, for instance, they have said that they're not going to talk about the blip at all in the show. The blip happened, but it happened in the past.
Interesting.
I
wonder why.
It happened, but it happened in the past. Like, a lot of She-Hulk is supposed to be in, like, 2024, 2025 that it's actually occurring. Because, like, we're just now seeing clips from Shang-Chi at the very end of the second episode. We saw that slight Shang-Chi clip when they were fighting in
so here's something that I brought up to Angel when I thought this through. That footage, we don't know how old that footage is. That footage just leaked to the public.
Yeah, we both came to that conclusion.
They're being ambiguous on purpose.
Yeah, so the only thing we know is that the first episode and on, all the way back to the first episode, we know it takes place after Shang-Chi. Because in Shang-Chi, Bruce Banner shows up, and he's in his human form. His arm brace thing hadn't been broken yet, and he hasn't been healed yet. And so we know that Shang-Chi happened before she became She-Hulk.
Actually, in the hologram where Bruce Banner shows up in Shang-Chi at the end credit scene, he is in an arm brace.
Okay. Yeah, you're proving my point. In the first episode, his arm got cured.
Right. So we know the last episode is sometime after that. Although there has been talk that Bruce Banner's arm is still broken and the Hulk isn't. Oh, Geekatard is in the chat too. Nice to see you, Geekatard.
Well, Hulk is in space right now.
Yes, because he just got in.
So it's like he's been in space probably for a while.
Yeah, they're probably setting up Scar.
So we know he's going to Sakaar. So Shang-Chi happened, and we got the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi. So in the movie Shang-Chi, we got the fight between Abomination and Wong, and someone filmed it. Then at the end of Shang-Chi, Bruce Banner shows up. His arm is still broken. Not broken, but you know what I mean.
Still in the
So
sling.
he's still in the brace, and he's in his human form. He hasn't found a way to heal his wound from the Infinity Gauntlet. Then, in the first episode of this, he's in human form, and then he turns into the Hulk, but then he uses Jennifer Walters' DNA to cure what's wrong with his right arm.
Yep.
And then, at the end of episode 2, the footage from Shang-Chi, that battle that leaked, got leaked. So we know that She-Hulk takes place sometime after Shang-Chi, and that footage didn't happen that day. That footage could be 3 months old. We don't know how old it is. It could be a week old. It could be 3 months old.
After
I
or
think
during
I think it's a safe bet to say that footage should be either a month and a half to 3 months old.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement.
I agree.
From the information that we got. We cannot narrow it down any more than that. So
Well, that's because I think that She-Hulk, by a lot of the talk online, is that the She-Hulk timeline, which is purposely being kind of opaque right now, is partly supposed to happen during Shang-Chi's timeline.
It's not during Shang-Chi.
A
It's
little
after
bit.
Shang-Chi.
A little bit of
after
it.
Shang-Chi.
A
Yeah.
little bit
It
of
is.
it
It is
possibly
100% definitively after
Yeah,
Shang-Chi.
There's no world where it's during Shang-Chi, even at the end. There's no world. It is considerably after that.
I don't know. That's not what some of the insiders are saying, but
I was about to say, insiders that won't share their name are as legitimate as those Walmart items that we were talking about earlier.
well,
Yeah. So either one of two things: either those insiders are mistaken, or
purposely
Marvel
misleading,
screwed up.
or they're purposely
Because-
Those are the
misleading,
only two options.
Yeah.
or they're purposely misleading.
No, not in the actual TV show. In the
no,
trailer,
the insiders might
yeah, they'd be
purposely
misleading. But in the actual TV show, this is the information that they've given us that cannot be contradicted from the movie to the TV show. So if you're saying someone who is an insider, an unnamed insider who won't reveal their name, is saying outside of both of those things, that both of those information is wrong, then that person is either mistaken or Marvel screwed up.
Actually, I think there are some named insiders, but I didn't jot down their names. But anyway, yes.
The fighting ring was supposed to be secret, so
yeah.
it would make sense that in the future they would have.
Yeah. Sometime after Shang-Chi ended, someone leaked that footage.
Right.
So
But anyway,
it wasn't posted the same day. It was sometime after.
And we never had any evidence that Bruce Banner was able to make another bracelet that would allow him to transform back into Bruce Banner. Not only that, why would he if he's going to space anyway?
And also, if he did,
yeah.
then his arm shouldn't be in a sling. His right arm shouldn't be in a sling anymore because he cured it.
Well, no, the rumor is that the cure may have only affected his Hulk form and that he still needs to heal slowly in his Banner form. So we don't know. Because that's one of the other things that they've talked about.
That would be interesting and new because the Hulk form has always completely cured Banner from literally anything that ever happened.
Right, but they've taken some liberties occasionally with the cinematic universe, and that may be something.
Yeah, but
I mean,
at this
even
point,
in the cinematic universe, they mentioned that he tried to blow his brains out, and the big guy spit out the bullet.
yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, trying to say it's during the same time, they're making up new limitations of his powers, making up new scenes, making up new scenarios, and for some reason making Banner turn himself back into Banner, even though he's able to be Smart Hulk with a functioning arm, and having to pretend that he built another contraption. We're dealing with a case of Occam's razor, where the more simple answer is probably the true one, and you have to do a whole lot of extra loops and jumps and gymnastics to get to the solution that they happen at the same time than the logical answer that is very simple and makes sense.
Yeah.
It's taking place after.
But sometimes they do that kind of stuff, though, in order to cover their own mistakes that they forget about during things, because even though Feige is really on the ball on keeping a lot of things,
Yeah.
he's still got a lot of balls in the air juggling.
Yeah, there have been a few mistakes, and I'll mention most of those mistakes were related to the Spider-Man movies, because Sony has some control over those.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
Sony
not
has-
all 100%
So
focused
like
there.
most of the mistakes have been outside sources butting their noses in.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will say we've seen these first 2 episodes, and I will point out that I told Lurch the other day that IMDb said that Charlie Cox was in a total of 8 episodes, and they originally had said there was going to be 10 episodes of She-Hulk, but now there's supposed to only be 9, and we've seen 2 episodes and not seen Charlie Cox yet, so the IMDb listing must not be correct.
So if they originally intended it to be
10
episodes,
yes.
then it would make sense that if they cut or merged an episode, it still could have been true whenever the IMDb article was out,
Yeah.
that he was supposed to be in 8 episodes, and that would still have been a true statement.
Yeah.
Right.
I love Matt Murdock. I love the Charlie Cox version of Daredevil. I hope it's not true. I hope he's not in every episode going forward of She-Hulk.
It sounds like he might be the rival. Here's kind of like what I'm hoping for. He might be the rival attorney that might be representing
that's
the
the thing.
something like that.
I want to see him as Matt Murdock more than Daredevil. And as Charlie Cox, I could see him in almost every other episode.
Aren't they both defense attorneys?
Well,
yeah, they are. It wouldn't make sense. You're right, but I also agree with you. I hope he's not in every episode. I think he'd be great in maybe 3 of them. But it's not the Matt Murdock show.
Yeah, he has his own show that's going to have like 19 episodes next year. So
yeah, let's She-Hulk shine. God damn it.
Exactly. Let She-Hulk shine. She deserves it.
Remember the way the legal system works. 2 basically defensive type attorneys could get private clients and sue each other. But a lot of times it's the prosecutor that sues on behalf of the state or the government or whatever. So Matt Murdock and Jennifer Walters can come head to head.
They could.
If
Just
two,
the likelihood
if
seems
two metahumans,
low.
If 2 metahumans came at odds in legality,
I mean, maybe Daredevil thinks that Abomination needs to stay in prison and decides to fight her on it.
I was personally hoping for a multi-criminal series where like they'd probably have 2 or 3 people she'd have to defend, and it'd just be like I'm hoping that they don't stick on Abomination as interesting. If they do, he needs to be super interesting to be able to keep the focus, because I'd like to see, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is fun
let's talk a little bit about what we got in the show, though. Blonsky. Neil Blonsky, the Abomination. I feel like, okay, Angel and I talked about this a little bit off camera, about how he makes some sense. Neil Blonsky's whole argument about how he was experimented on by his government and was doing what he was told, following his orders.
He thought he was the good guy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was, I really, it makes so much sense that Blonsky, like even if he's out there, like he's actively getting training to handle himself and his powers from a lawful good motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like Wong is like
very good.
Like he follows his. Wong is good.
Yeah.
Like he's a good guy. Like he's not intentionally trying to like make Abomination. Wong just doesn't care about mortal, non-magical laws.
Right.
So he's just like taking him out, being this with me, then bringing him back, and it's just like
I don't know if I'm convinced that he doesn't care about the laws.
I feel like only because I get that impression only because he was. So you have an opinion on it. I'll let you get there. I'm gonna put mine out so that you could so you could put yours against mine. What mine was Wong doesn't necessarily care about the laws of people for 2 reasons. One of the reasons why I think that is because he's actively teleporting people in and out of the raft. and two, because he is confused about the process whenever he says, what, the Book of Ashanti, and she's like, the Book of Law. And it's like, I get that. I get the feeling that Wong doesn't put a lot of stock into that.
Well,
yeah.
And
so my rebuttal to that is that interaction that we've seen in the trailers only, which could be a little bit, off. My only impression I really get from that is he could just simply not be familiar with the phrase, the Book of Law.
Well,
doesn't mean he's not familiar with laws. He's not familiar with the American idiom of the Book of Law.
No. I don't mean that he doesn't care about laws or he doesn't know laws exist. What I meant was he just doesn't necessarily care that, or he doesn't put a lot of stock into it. Like, that's not his work.
Yeah, but I don't know. We don't know one way or the other for sure on that, but I do think my theory, and this could be completely wrong, proven wrong by episode 3, but my theory is the government, the prison at least, is willingly letting him leave with Wong, under Wong's care, to do this training and do whatever. But after the footage leaks of him doing the underground fighting, then they're like, we don't know what happened.
They disavow it.
You know that I would say that scenario, although I don't necessarily think that's what's happening, I do say that scenario provides the best nuance for the situation of the U.S. government throwing him under the bus in the first place, and then throwing him under the bus again. Like it feels like that would, and then it would have to be She-Hulk's perspective to prove the government didn't. And I think that would be such an interesting narrative that I hope happens. I don't think it'll happen.
The other thing you got to consider with Wong, and just for me to interject my part of this, is Wong is not necessarily a U.S. citizen, so U.S. laws aren't something he automatically considers anyway. He's a citizen of the city of the Ancient One, and if he has citizenship anywhere.
Forgetting about laws and everything else, let's pause for a second and ask, why the F would Wong bother to break Abomination out of prison and then bring him back without having permission?
Sandwich money.
Well,
like, just think about it. Why would he break him out to do this fight and then chat with him on a friendly nature and then, take him back to prison if the prison wasn't letting him do it? I think it's very clear that the prison is letting Abomination leave. I think there's no way around that. The prison is letting him leave.
That might be true. It's just that Wong is using the portals to get him in and out. It just feels like. I guess that makes sense.
The portals are how he's getting in and out, so that the general public isn't seeing it or whatever. They're not moving him out in the truck, and that's just the way he travels anyway. He's not going to get in the car and pick him up in the truck.
Well, I guess the same argument could be why are they letting him?
But he's not going to be breaking into the prison over and over again,
But and see, that's why I think that Blonsky is wanting to be redeemed. But at the same time, why is the government letting him out either?
And the government
when they
still
could keep him contained
might not be letting him out because Wong has the capability.
All you got to do is bribe the guards.
Well,
but here's why did the raft allow him to leave is the same argument of why is Wong taking him. Here's an argument that could be Wong was notified about the Abomination's existence, felt bad for the Abomination, and wanted to help redeem him because there's so many heroes that would have seen Abomination that were in the raft.
But he wouldn't have brought him back. I don't think he would have brought him back at the point. He would release him in Shangri-La or keep him in his temple in Kumartaj. For whatever reason, that was stuck on the end of my tongue.
If he's a pet project, he'd probably be slowly teaching him how to do it the right way.
Yeah, but
And
I mean,
still
yeah,
can
a lot
do
of,
it.
at this point, we're already at conjecture, so it doesn't matter about the.
How many times do you think he's going to take him out of prison to do this fight and then take him back to the prison before thinking the people running this prison are going to kill someone or are going to try to do something? They were able to peacefully walk into the prison, no problem. So, without a doubt, no shadow of doubt in my mind, at very least, the guards responsible for Blonsky are letting Wong take him out.
Not
They probably are.
I agree with that.
You're not
I
necessarily
agree with
getting it all, though.
Well, for whatever reason it is, maybe they're getting some of the money in the winnings. Maybe they're bribing him with winning money, or something else. Who knows?
You're leaving
But
out one
Yeah,
possibility.
I do agree with you there. I think the guards had to have known.
You're leaving
Yeah.
out one possibility, though. You're not taking into account the fact that Wong could create an illusion that Blonsky never left.
And he could have yeah, that's something that he could have done, or made it so that the guards didn't want to go in. He is Magic Man.
I mean, at this point, you can just be like, well, I mean, all we know, the one above all is actually the one that's here pretending to be Wong and the Abomination fight each other.
I don't think it's that big of a stretch to say that the Sorcerer Supreme felt like he knew better than the guards and
he might have just
an
wanted
illusion
to judge
keep the
Abomination's capabilities and took him to the fight ring to judge his capabilities and befriended
Okay,
him.
I don't believe that's the case
But he
because
could've.
Wong specifically said you need to work on your, what was it, right hook or something like that?
Well, that's exactly what somebody judging somebody's capabilities might say, though, because he's sounding like
And this
a
is
trainer.
and it's clearly been a reoccurring thing because they were on such a
I agree with that.
social conversationalist.
That
So
part is
this
pretty.
has been such a reoccurring thing.
At
Something,
minimum,
unless they're, and, you know, Wong was opposed to the memory erasing spell, so he's obviously not using that every time he takes Blonsky
at
out.
minimum,
In
he's
2 days,
going
we're
in-
probably going to figure out exactly what happened.
At minimum, he's going.
So the answer that makes the most sense, that's also the simplest, is that for whatever reason the prison was letting him leave, and now that the footage is leaked, the prison doesn't want to admit that they've been letting him leave. And they're like, oh, he escaped somehow, you know.
And
We
let
don't
me
know how he escaped.
let me
and-
check,
Matt,
man.
I now that I remember that he's the Sorcerer Supreme, it's hard for me to not be like, could have just like the simplest. If we're talking about Occam's razor in a world where everything is magical and anything can happen, just creating an illusion of the Abomination to be in the container so no one knows that he's left
That's
is absolutely the
that's my
simplest
theory.
explanation,
And-
rather than a secret cabal in the government allowing Abomination to leave and train in an underground fighting ring for no apparent reason.
And let me throw one other spanner in there real quick. He could, because of his familiarity with Abomination Blonsky, it may not have mean that he took him out multiple times. It could mean that he came in and visited and had discussions with Blonsky without the guards knowing.
No.
And then it
The way he
finally
was
took him
casually
out.
talking about his fighting style, he's been out of the ring a lot more before. That's something that I have to agree on. He's been out of the ring a lot more.
Yeah, and also, I'm pretty sure that people were specifically chanting about Abomination, so he was like known as a great fighter there in the ring or something.
Yeah, he's been doing this for a bit. I feel like the thing that's hardest for me to believe that the prison knew about it is that there to be, instead of just two needs, like two individuals, like two parties that were involved. Now we have to involve a third party where they all have to align for a common goal. That we can assume that
when you remember just how many like drugs and other things that happen past, you know, with the help of prison guards as it is, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
The old saying.
There's like a whole economy in prison.
Yeah.
With guards being paid off with fucking cigarettes and stuff.
I don't, hold on. So guards being paid off, I'm down for. The only thing I'm not down for is that the whole prison knew about it and okayed it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I
could see General Ross okaying him leaving for that shit. And isn't he the one in charge of the raft?
I actually can't see him, seeing as how he does not like Hulks out in the wild at all anyway.
I mean, he doesn't like Hulks, but he likes,
He threw Blonsky under the bus the second that Blonsky took all of that serum.
Anyway,
yeah.
let's go ahead and go on to another part of the show.
Okay.
I do like the tongue-in-cheek reference to the Edward Norton bit of Banner, because he points out that was a whole other person back then.
Yeah, it was a totally different person back then. Literally. In canon, he means a different person, Hulk, and a blend of Hulk, Smart Hulk. He was just Hulk, now he's Smart Hulk. But for the audience, we know Edward Norton and Ruffalo.
Yeah. And what better show to do that kind of tongue-in-cheek fourth wall break than in She-Hulk, who's known for fourth wall breaking?
Yeah.
That is
Hulk didn't break the fourth wall. She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall. Hulk doesn't, but Hulk made a line that makes sense in canon of what he is experienced by going from Hulk to Smart Hulk.
Yeah.
Or Smart Hulk, as Jennifer calls him.
So I know the okay, can I please say for a second that I think that the additional abilities that was given to her was that she now is aware that there's a fourth wall, even if she's doing it as a tick, because she didn't do it at all during the flashback.
No, she didn't do it at all. She did it during the flashback, but not until after she was She-Hulk.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
She never did it before the blood.
Yeah.
When they were driving together, she didn't do it, but she did do it during the training montage.
Yeah,
and she had opportunities to.
So yeah, she didn't do it until after she was She-Hulk. So we didn't get very much time with her before she became a She-Hulk, but it didn't happen, and it could have.
Yeah, so breaking the fourth wall is a She-Hulk ability.
Yeah.
And I love that ability of She-Hulk, and I think them leaning so heavily on it in this show, plus making it a legal procedural comedy, is a good choice. I really love that choice.
Someone said Ally McBeal, because she did that too, and that just makes so much sense.
The only time I didn't care for it much, and it wasn't that I didn't like that it did it, it's just the way the cinematography worked for this one moment, was when she was walking down the hall and complaining to the audience about how she can't believe, people are going to think she only got this job because of the She-Hulk and despite her training. And I don't have a problem with the fact that she said all this. My problem is with the cinematography, it wasn't clear right away that she was talking to the audience. I thought she was saying this to walking her down the hall.
I agree. I was like, wait a second. Oh. And it's that probably shouldn't be my reaction to that. I don't think that's what they wanted my reaction to be that.
Yeah.
So that was a really wonky cinematography they did.
Yeah.
And while we're pointing out disappointments, okay, one of the things we know is at least the first 4 episodes are going to have after credit scenes. That's great. And I love that. And there's a chance that we might get one in every episode. That would be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But I was a little disappointed in the second episode's after credit scene because it really did nothing. It just showed
a couple
of chores. And it really
I'm down with a funny after credit scene.
But that wasn't even funny. It was just there. The only good line there was I know it's good that you're being hydrated, but this is going a little overboard. And she's carrying 8 Culligan bottles.
Yeah.
So what it did was it's clear. So the whole series, it really does feel is they're doubling down with what she's saying and what she's doing on the normal life of someone with superpowers. And the normal life of someone with superpowers is carrying really heavy things for your family. It's just that.
And it's not just carrying heavy things for your family. It's the family is treating it like it's a, No, they aren't treating it as a normal thing. They're actively giving her extra stuff that's heavy to carry just for the sakes of seeing her do it. There's no reasonable reason why someone would have 15 jugs of that water brought in, in one purchase.
So here's the thing, right? Is their cousins, Bruce and Jennifer. So we have a family that's already accustomed to having a superpowered person, now having a similarly superpowered person, and it's like their parents are like, because like their parents are siblings.
Yeah.
So now it's like my daughter has superpowers, and it's just like they're wanting to like. Yeah, it's like you got the two coins of like we knew it, we know how to handle this. We, like we've already had to go through this once, doing it again.
It's not like we haven't already had a Hulk in the
She-Hulk
family.
as it was Bruce Banner.
It's not like we never had a Hulk in the family kind of thing, like you said in the.
Yeah, you had a very nuanced, and I think they did it really well. We've been through this before, and show us more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, they're still also acting like a typical Jewish kind of family too, because mom's like, oh, this one boy, he wants to be a superhero. I gave him your number. Oh, don't give him. It's totally the Jewish family thing.
Well, but did you hear the slight? Did you hear the slight? Is like, you don't need to, you don't need to hook me up. Oh no, he's too young for you.
I know.
Oh my God,
yes.
that must
Who
have
wants to
slammed.
hear that? Who wants to hear that? Especially what woman wants to hear that?
That was so sad. I thought it was hilarious, but oh my God.
Yeah. But then, like, the dad asked her for help or something, but was just luring her to the garage to ask her if she's okay. And that was really nice. That was
and then,
a good dad moment there.
It's a family drama and work drama, and it's just great. It's everything I was hoping it would be so far.
And did you recognize the guy that gave her the gift basket in the legal office because he was from Arrow?
No.
Yeah, the actor is from Arrow. He was not a real big part, but it was.
Yeah, that show had a billion actors in it over
it had a couple of
7 years or whatever.
One of the Easter breakdowns said that he was an Arrowverse alum that makes it over. I'm trying to remember which.
I mean, at this point, everyone's been in a superhero project.
Nowadays, it's the rite of passage. If you're going to be an actor, you got to be in a superhero property.
Yeah.
Or you can't.
Unless you're Ricky Gervais, I guess, because he hates the superhero movies.
Otherwise,
apparently.
You can't call yourself
fuck
an actor.
That guy for a lot of reasons. I love that guy for a lot of reasons, and fuck that guy for a lot of reasons.
Anyway, we're definitely
an asshole in the best and worst ways.
We're over by about 9 minutes. We're definitely going to come back to She-Hulk next week. There's a few other things that have hit that we will talk on possibly in the upcoming weeks. Samaritan dropped, the Sylvester Stallone superhero movie. Samaritan dropped, and I believe that's on Amazon Prime.
Is that a movie or a TV series?
It's a movie.
I plan on watching it. Yeah.
Secret Headquarters dropped, which is the alternative Owen Wilson movie, and that's on. It's either Peacock or Paramount, and so that's another one that we can talk about. And it actually got some really good reviews too.
I mean, I don't have those services, so
you might have to come over to.
And I don't think the trailer didn't look appealing to me though.
It's actually not too bad, and it's got what's his name from.
I'll probably not watch the Peacock one, but I'm definitely going to be watching the
Samaritan.
Sylvester Stallone Samaritan.
Yeah.
I might watch that one. I don't know.
I fell asleep at the beginning of Samaritan, so I still have to go back and watch it again. I do that a lot, though. That's not a critique on the movies. It's my chronic fatigue syndrome. But so those are things that we can catch up on. House of the Dragon just dropped, so we might want to start talking about House of the Dragon. I don't know if we're going to or not.
I might have to watch Game of Thrones.
I might have to rewatch Game of Thrones just because I'm currently rewatching and getting into the second season of Resident Alien, which is on Peacock.
I am watching House of the Dragon. That's been pretty good so far.
I need to rewatch it, but I think I also want to rewatch Game of Thrones, even though House of the Dragon is a prequel. I would love to reread the books. But I don't.
I would not normally do this, but I'm getting texted by my wife asking why I'm outside of the house. I might have to bow out a little early.
Yeah, we should be wrapping up.
We're
so.
actually 11 minutes late, so that's fine. We'll catch everybody next week. We'll see you a little bit earlier than 8 o'clock next week, Angel, to get you set up. So if you want to have a couple of topics of your own to discuss, just give me a couple of links that I can put in, and we'll do that. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Celtic Links, it's great to see you in channel. Geekatard, we always enjoy you as being one of our commenters in the chat. You're two of the main people that actually come in and talk to us while we're streaming instead of watching it on repeat. So thanks for stopping by. I know we didn't actually do a lot of interaction with you guys. We're going to let Angel bow out so he can go with his significant other.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Welcome to the fold. You've sold your soul. Thanks for your support. Bartles and James.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
See you later.
And from myself and Lurch, which you're seeing in a weird double vision right now on the screen. There we go.
That's what I'll do. I'm just in both panels.
I switched it, but anyway, from myself and Lurch, we love having everybody there. We're hoping to expand and make the show bigger and better and more pointed and get it out. So if you've got friends that might be interested in this, let them know about the show. Let them know that it goes to YouTube every week. Let them know we've got the new Angel as another host. So there's 3 of us now. We're ganging up on you guys. We're ganging up on you.
Yeah.
We're forming our own super team. Avengers Assemble. And anyway, we've got a lot coming out near the end of the year. I mean, yes, WB only has the money for 3 more releases before the end of the year, which is crazy insane. For theatrical releases, let me point out theatrical releases because it's different. But there's only going to be 3 more theatrical releases from the whole WB conglomerate.
I mean, that's not some few because we only have.
Well, we got 4 months
left
left though, and the last 4 months of the year are big property for movie releases though. November, December are big.
The summer is the big blockbuster stuff.
Some of it, but then, like for instance, all the Harry Potters came out in Thanksgiving. Stuff like comes out in Thanksgiving and Christmas a lot, and all the horror movies like to come out in October.
Yeah.
So October, November, December is big release time. Yes, we have summer blockbusters, but then we get the big season at the end of the year when the last stuff comes out. But Warner Brothers only getting 3 and 4 months is kind of slim pickings. But hopefully by this time next year, Zaslav will have got more of his ducks in a row, and we will start to see some benefit to his so-called 10-year plan. Because I would like to see, I don't think they're going to overshoot the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, it's a juggernaut. But we will start to see a little bit of fatigue, possibly, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe in some areas, depending on how Feige handles it. But I would like to see DC gain some ground.
Yeah, they've got so many great characters.
There's so many properties on there that are, I mean, we are getting work done on a Constantine 2 movie with Keanu Reeves.
Give me a good Green Lantern, goddammit.
The Green Lantern show is still supposedly going to be coming to HBO Max. It has not been canceled, but it's also in a black hole. We're not hearing about it a whole lot. But
Green Lantern's a hard one to do, I get it.
I want to see a live action Brightest Day, Darkest Night. I want to see a live action of that kind of storyline. I mean, they were expensive in a way, but the Berlanti productions are still some of my favorite stuff on TV. I mean, and a couple of commenters during the week said that a big part of it was them trying to focus to a different demographic because they want to cater to an older watching crowd. What they don't realize is a lot of your comic book watching crowds are my age because they grew up with comic books. You know, yes, there's some that are younger like you, Lurch, and some that are even younger still in their teens, but the comic book movies and TV shows do also cater to the 50-plus generation, because we were the ones that were collecting the comic books in the 60s, 70s, and 80s when some of the best storylines came out, you know, and so they need to realize that. But yes, Berlanti put more money in than he could probably afford in each of his shows. And like, for instance, one of the reasons one of their shows got canceled, which was Batwoman, was because the studio that they filmed Batwoman at, the lease was up for renewal, and they didn't want to pay the renewal, and it looked like probably Netflix is now leasing that studio. A lot of stuff is getting done now in Vancouver, because it is cheaper to film stuff in Vancouver than it is in Hollywood now. And so a lot of stuff is coming out of the Vancouver scene. Anyway, don't want to go on and on and on about this. We tend to do this every end of the show anyway. So we're going to say goodbye to everybody. We're going to catch everybody next week. We're going to talk more Sandman. We're going to talk more She-Hulk for sure. And we're going to at least get started on that Dungeons and Dragons topic. We may make that a multi-episode where we touch on a little bit in a couple of episodes, because it's a very big article and it has a lot of really good information, especially involved with some of the themes that we work with Eclectic Endeavors and the education side of things. But we appreciate everybody there. Remember to like and follow. If you have Amazon Prime, use one of your Prime subscriptions on us. Remember that half of everything made on the channel does go to Extra Life. And you may have noticed that they're running more ads. That's because they've increased the ad revenue through Twitch. But remember, if you're a subscriber, a lot of times subscribers don't have to watch the ads. It's the non-subscribers that do. So that's a reason to get your subscription, is just to skip the ads and not be interrupted when we're talking.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You can use your Amazon free subscriptions too.
Yeah, you get one free a month, and you can change it every month based on who you're viewing and who you want to support. But we still get the same. It's still the $5 value of a subscription, of which we get half. So we get $2.50. So that means $1.25 goes to Extra Life, to charity, because I give half of everything I get to charity. And the other half just goes to maintaining the channel, because we don't make enough to do otherwise. In fact, I still pay out of pocket on top of that. But that's okay. I don't mind doing that because it's not that much. But we'll catch everybody next week. Maybe we'll have some new topics. We're going to have Angel do his first topics that he suggests, maybe one or two. We'll, of course, come back with more of Lurch's favorite topics. We'll have something from the vault, possibly Karate Kid. We might talk some Karate Kid next week. It's either next week or the following week that I'm going to talk Karate Kid. You're going to get a preview right now.
And you can't forget to mention its remake, The Kung Fu Kid, that came out with Jackie Chan.
It was still called Karate Kid.
I don't give a shit what its actual title was. There wasn't a single bit of karate in that whole movie.
Yeah,
it was all Kung Fu.
He's teaching Kung Fu in the movie, but they called it Karate Kid.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know
how
Kung
could you
Fu.
even possibly do that? Yeah, it is the Kung Fu Kid with Jaden Smith. Yes, and it was much less.
Imagine if a reboot of The Matrix came out called The Matrix, but there wasn't a single computer in the whole movie.
Right?
It was like they were like dreamwalking with drugs and
a lot of
feudal
people
Japan.
don't realize is Will Smith produced the Kung Fu Kid. He is also one of the executive producers on Cobra Kai. So
all right,
Will
I'm
Smith
ready to
is
sign
behind
off.
camera there. Anyway, we are signing off. Like I said, from myself, from Lurch, from Angel in Absentia, and from our significant others that got to put up with us during this time. Come in next week, same bad time, same bad channel. Excelsior, finish him. And
Boy.
fatality. Bye.